Yay, oh boy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Power Hour Saturday night personal development series. And I'm proud to present the Entrepreneur Power Hour Think and Grow Rich, Chapter 1. This book was first written in 1937 by Napoleon Hill and is considered one of the most widely regarded, personally acclaimed cornerstones, personal development. And I'm really happy to be bringing this to you guys. Tonight we have Mr. Dan Sissick, who is an awesome panelist. He's always here, 100% committed to this business. We love you, Dan. And more people are gonna show up. We're just sending out invites and stuff like that. And my co-host, co-owner of the business, is here with me as well, Mr. Kareem Mays.
Hey.
So I'm just gonna move this camera next to the speaker so that you'll be able to hear it better. And I'm going to start the recording now, or the first chapter, so here we go.
Chapter 1. Introduction. The man who thought his way into partnership with Thomas A. Edison. Truly, thoughts are things, and powerful things at that, when they are mixed with definitiveness of purpose, persistence, and a burning desire for their translation into riches or other material objects. A little more than 30 years ago, Edwin C. Barnes discovered how true it is that men really do think and grow rich. His discovery did not come about at one sitting. It came little by little, beginning with a burning desire to become a business associate of the great Edison. One of the chief characteristics of Barnes's desire was that it was definite. He wanted to work with Edison, not for him. Observe carefully the description of how he went about translating his desire into reality, and you will have a better understanding of the 13 principles which lead to riches. When this desire or impulse of thought first flashed into his mind, he was in no position to act upon it. Two difficulties stood in his way. He did not know Mr. Edison, and he did not have enough money to pay his railroad fare to Orange, New Jersey. These difficulties were sufficient to have discouraged the majority of men from making any attempt to carry out the desire. But his was no ordinary desire. He was so determined to find a way to carry out his desire that he finally decided to travel by blind passage rather than be defeated. To the uninitiated, this means that he went to East Orange on a freight train. He presented himself at Mr. Edison's laboratory and announced he had come to go into business with the inventor. In speaking of the first meeting between Barnes and Edison years later, Mr. Edison said, "He stood there before me, looking like an ordinary tramp, but there was something in the expression of his face which conveyed the impression that he was determined to get what he had come after. I had learned from years of experience with men that when a man really desires a thing so deeply that he is willing to stake his entire future on a single turn of the wheel in order to get it, he is sure to win. I gave him the opportunity he asked for, because I saw he had made up his mind to stand by until he succeeded. Subsequent events proved that no mistake was made. Just what young Barnes said to Mr. Edison on that occasion was far less important than that which he thought. Edison himself said so. It could not have been the young man's appearance which got him his start in the Edison office, for that was definitely against him. It was what he thought that counted. If the significance of this statement could be conveyed to every person who reads it, there would be no need for the remainder of this book. Barnes did not get his partnership with Edison on his first interview. He did get a chance to work in the Edison offices at a very nominal wage, doing work that was unimportant to Edison, but most important to Barnes, because it gave him an opportunity to display his merchandise where his intended partner could see it. Months went by. Apparently, nothing happened to bring the coveted goal which Barnes had set up in his mind as his definite major purpose, but something important was happening in Barnes's mind. He was constantly intensifying his desire to become the business associate of Edison. Psychologists have correctly said that when one is truly ready for a thing, it puts in its appearance. Barnes was ready for a business association with Edison. Moreover, he was determined to remain ready until he got that which he was seeking. He did not say to himself, "Oh, well, what's the use? I guess I'll change my mind and try for a salesman's job." But he did say, "I came here to go into business with Edison, and I'll accomplish this end if it takes the remainder of my life. He meant it. What a different story men would have to tell if only they would adopt a definite purpose and stand by that purpose until it had time to become an all-consuming obsession. Maybe young Barnes did not know it at the time, but his bulldog determination, his persistence in standing back of a single desire was destined to mow down all opposition and bring him the opportunity he was seeking. When the opportunity came, it appeared in a different form and from a different direction than Barnes had expected. This is one of the tricks of opportunity. It has a sly habit of slipping in by the back door, and often it comes disguised in the form of misfortune or temporary defeat. Perhaps this is why so many fail to recognize opportunity. Mr. Edison had just perfected a new office device known at the time as the Edison dictating machine, now the Ediphone. His salesmen were not enthusiastic over the machine. They did not believe it could be sold without great effort. Barnes saw his opportunity. It had crawled in quietly, hidden in a queer-looking machine which interested no one but Barnes and the inventor. Barnes knew he could sell the Edison dictating machine. He suggested this to Edison and promptly got his chance. He did sell the machine. In fact, he sold it so successfully that Edison gave him the contract to distribute and market it all over the nation. Out of that business association grew the slogan, "Made by Edison and installed by Barnes." The business alliance has been in operation for more than 30 years. Out of it, Barnes has made himself rich in money, but he has done something infinitely greater. He has proved that one really may think and grow rich. How much actual cash that desire of Barnes has been worth to him, I have no way of knowing. Perhaps it has brought him $2 or $3 million, but the amount, whatever it is, becomes insignificant when compared with the greater asset he acquired in the form of definite knowledge that an intangible impulse of thought can be transmuted into its physical counterpart by the application of known principles. Barnes literally thought himself into a partnership with the great Edison. He thought himself into a fortune. He had nothing to start with except the capacity to know what he wanted and the determination to stand by that desire until he realized it. He had no money to begin with. He had but little education. He had no influence. But he did have initiative, faith, and the will to win. With these intangible forces, he made himself #1 man with the greatest inventor who ever lived. Now, let's look at a different situation and study a man who had plenty of tangible evidence of riches but lost it because he stopped 3 feet short of the goal he was seeking. 3 feet from gold. One of the most common causes of failure is the habit of quitting when one is overtaken by temporary defeat. Every person is guilty of this mistake at one time or another. An uncle of R.U. Darby was caught by the gold fever in the gold rush days and went west to dig and grow rich. He had never heard that more gold has been mined from the brains of men than has ever been taken from the earth. He staked a claim and went to work with pick and shovel. The going was hard, but his lust for gold was definite. After weeks of labor, he was rewarded by the discovery of the shining ore. He needed machinery to bring the ore to the surface. Quietly, he covered up the mine, retraced his footsteps to his home in Williamsburg, Maryland, told his relatives and a few neighbors of the strike. They got together money for the needed machinery, had it shipped. The uncle and Darby went back to work the mine. The first car of ore was mined and shipped to a smelter. The returns proved they had one of the richest mines in Colorado. A few more cars of that ore would clear the debts. Then would come the big killing in profits. Down went the drills. Up went the hopes of Darby and Uncle. Then something happened. The vein of gold ore disappeared. They had come to the end of the rainbow, and the pot of gold was no longer there. They drilled on, desperately trying to pick up the vein again, all to no avail. Finally, they decided to quit. They sold the machinery to a junk man for a few $100s and took the train back home. Some junk men are dumb, but not this one. He called in a mining engineer to look at the mine and do a little calculating. The engineer advised that the project had failed because the owners were not familiar with fault lines. His calculations showed that the vein would be found just 3 feet from where the Darbys had stopped drilling. That is exactly where it was found. The junk man took millions of dollars in ore from the mine because he knew enough to seek expert counsel before giving up. Most of the money which went into the machinery was procured through the efforts of R.U. Darby, who was then a very young man. The money came from his relatives and neighbors because of their faith in him. He paid back every dollar of it, although he was years in doing so. Long afterward, Mr. Darby recouped his loss many times over when he made the discovery that desire can be transmuted into gold. The discovery came after he went into the business of selling life insurance. Remembering that he lost a huge fortune because he stopped 3 feet from gold, Darby profited by the experience in his chosen work by the simple method of saying to himself, "I stopped 3 feet from gold, but I will never stop again because men say no when I ask them to buy insurance." Darby is one of a small group of fewer than 50 men who sell more than $1 million in life insurance annually. He owes his stickability to the lesson he learned from his quitability in the gold mining business. Before success comes in any man's life, he is sure to meet with much temporary defeat and perhaps some failure. When defeat overtakes a man, the easiest and most logical thing to do is to quit. That is exactly what the majority of men do. More than 500 of the most successful men this country has ever known told the author their greatest success came just one step beyond the point at which defeat had overtaken them. Failure is a trickster with a keen sense of irony and cunning. It takes great delight in tripping one when success is almost within reach. A 50-cent lesson in persistence. Shortly after Mr. Darby received his degree from the University of Hard Knocks and had decided to profit by his experience in the gold mining business, he had the good fortune to be present on an occasion that proved to him that no does not necessarily mean no. One afternoon, he was helping his uncle grind wheat in an old-fashioned mill. The uncle operated a large farm on which a number of colored sharecrop farmers lived. Quietly, the door was opened, and a small colored child, the daughter of a tenant, walked in and took her place near the door. The uncle looked up, saw the child, and barked at her roughly. "What do you want?" Meekly, the child replied, "My mammy say send her 50 cents. "I'll not do it," the uncle retorted. "Now you run on home." "Yes, sir," the child replied. But she did not move. The uncle went ahead with his work, so busily engaged that he did not pay enough attention to the child to observe that she did not leave. When he looked up and saw her still standing there, he yelled at her, "I told you to go on home. Now go, or I'll take a switch to you." The little girl said, "Yes, sir," but she did not budge an inch. The uncle dropped the sack of grain he was about to pour into the mill hopper, picked up a barrel stave, and started toward the child with an expression on his face that indicated trouble. Darby held his breath. He was certain he was about to witness a murder. He knew his uncle had a fierce temper. He knew that colored children were not supposed to defy white people in that part of the country. When the uncle reached the spot where the child was standing, she quickly stepped forward one step, looked up into his eyes, and screamed at the top of her shrill voice, "My mammy's gotta have that 50 cents. The uncle stopped, looked at her for a minute, then slowly laid the barrel stave on the floor, put his hand in his pocket, took out $50, and gave it to her. The child took the money and slowly backed toward the door, never taking her eyes off the man whom she had just conquered. After she had gone, the uncle sat down on a box and looked out the window into space for more than 10 minutes. He was pondering with awe over the whipping he had just taken. Mr. Darby, too, was doing some thinking. That was the first time in all his experience that he had seen a colored child deliberately master an adult white person. How did she do it? What happened to his uncle that caused him to lose his fierceness and become as docile as a lamb? What strange power did this child use that made her master over her superior? These and other similar questions flashed into Darby's mind, but he did not find the answer until years later, when he told me the story. Strangely, the story of this unusual experience was told to the author in the old mill on the very spot where the uncle took his whipping. Strangely, too, I had devoted nearly a quarter of a century to the study of the power which enabled an ignorant, illiterate colored child to conquer an intelligent man. As we stood there in that musty old mill, Mr. Darby repeated the story of the unusual conquest and finished by asking, "What can you make of it? What strange power did that child use that so completely whipped my uncle?" The answer to his question will be found in the principles described in this book. The answer is full and complete. It contains details and instructions sufficient to enable anyone to understand and apply the same force which the little child accidentally stumbled upon. Keep your mind alert, and you will observe exactly what strange power came to the rescue of the child. You will catch a glimpse of this power in the next chapter. Somewhere in the book, you will find an idea that will quicken your receptive powers and place at your command for your own benefit this same irresistible power. The awareness of this power may come to you in the first chapter, or it may flash into your mind in some subsequent chapter. It may come in the form of a single idea, or it may come in the nature of a plan or a purpose. Again, it may cause you to go back into your past experiences of failure or defeat and bring to the surface some lesson by which you can regain all that you lost through defeat. After I had described to Mr. Darby the power unwittingly used by the little colored girl, he quickly retraced his 30 years of experience as a life insurance salesman and frankly acknowledged that his success in that field was due, in no small degree, to the lesson he had learned from the child. Mr. Darby pointed out, every time a prospect tried to bow me out without buying, I saw that child standing there in the old mill, her big eyes glaring in defiance, and I said to myself, I've got to make this sale. The better portion of all sales I have made were made after people had said no. He recalled, too, his mistake in having stopped only 3 feet from gold. But, he said, that experience was a blessing in disguise. It taught me to keep on keeping on, no matter how hard the going may be, a lesson I needed to learn before I could succeed in anything. This story of Mr. Darby and his uncle, the colored child, and the gold mine doubtless will be read by hundreds of men who make their living by selling life insurance. And to all of these, the author wishes to offer the suggestion that Darby owes to these 2 experiences his ability to sell more than $1 million of life insurance every year. Life is strange and often imponderable. Both the successes and the failures have their roots in simple experiences. Mr. Darby's experiences were commonplace and simple enough, yet they held the answer to his destiny in life. Therefore, they were as important to him as life itself. He profited by these 2 dramatic experiences because he analyzed them and found the lesson they taught. But what of the man who has neither the time nor the inclination to study failure in search of knowledge that may lead to success? Where and how is he to learn the art of converting defeat into stepping stones to opportunity? In answer to these questions, this book was written. The answer called for a description of 13 principles. But remember, as you read, the answer you may be seeking to the questions which have caused you to ponder over the strangeness of life may be found in your own mind through some idea, plan, or purpose which may spring into your mind as you read. One sound idea is all that one needs to achieve success. The principles described in this book contain the best and the most practical of all that is known concerning ways and means of creating useful ideas. Before we go any further in our approach to the description of these principles, we believe you are entitled to receive this important suggestion. When riches begin to come, they come so quickly in such great abundance that one wonders where they have been hiding during all those lean years. This is an astounding statement, and all the more so when we take into consideration the popular belief that riches come only to those who work hard and long. When you begin to think and grow rich, you will observe that riches begin with a state of mind, with definitiveness of purpose, with little or no hard work. You and every other person ought to be interested in knowing how to acquire that state of mind which will attract riches. I spent 25 years in research analyzing more than 25,000 people because I, too, wanted to know how wealthy men became that way. Without the research, this book could not have been written. Here, take notice of a very significant truth. The business depression started in 1929 and continued on to an all-time record of destruction until some time after President Roosevelt entered office. Then the depression began to fade into nothingness. Just as an electrician in a theater raises the lights so gradually that darkness is transmuted into light before you realize it, so did the spell of the fear in the minds of the people gradually fade away and become faith. Observe very closely. As soon as you master the principles of this philosophy and begin to follow the instructions for applying those principles, your financial status will begin to improve, and everything you touch will begin to transmute itself into an asset for your benefit. Impossible? Not at all. One of the main weaknesses of mankind is the average man's familiarity with the word impossible. He knows all the rules which will not work. He knows all the things which cannot be done. This book was written for those who seek the rules which have made others successful and are willing to stake everything on those rules. A great many years ago, I purchased a fine dictionary. The first thing I did with it was turn to the word impossible and neatly clip it out of the book. That would not be an unwise thing for you to do. Success comes to those who become success conscious. Failure comes to those who indifferently allow themselves to become failure conscious. The object of this book is to help all who seek it to learn the art of changing their minds from failure consciousness to success consciousness. Another weakness found in altogether too many people is the habit of measuring everything and everyone by their own impressions and beliefs. Some who will read this will believe that no one can think and grow rich. They cannot think in terms of riches because their thought habits have been steeped in poverty, want, misery, failure, and defeat. These unfortunate people remind me of a prominent Chinese who came to America to be educated in American ways. He attended the University of Chicago. One day, President Harper met this young Oriental on the campus, stopped to chat with him for a few minutes, and asked what had impressed him as being the most noticeable characteristic of the American people. "Why," the Chinaman exclaimed, "the queer slant of your eyes. Your eyes are off slant. What do we say about the Chinese? We refuse to believe that which we do not understand. We foolishly believe that our own limitations are the proper measure of limitations. Sure, the other fellow's eyes are off slant, because they are not the same as our own." Millions of people look at the achievements of Henry Ford after he has arrived and envy him because of his good fortune, or luck, or genius, or whatever it is they credit for Ford's fortune. Perhaps one person in every 100,000 knows the secret of Ford's success, and those who do know are too modest or too reluctant to speak of it because of its simplicity. A single transaction will illustrate the secret perfectly. A few years back, Ford decided to produce his now famous V8 motor. He chose to build an engine with the entire 8 cylinders cast in one block and instructed his engineers to produce a design for the engine. The design was placed on paper, but the engineers agreed to a man that it was simply impossible to cast an 8-cylinder gas engine block in one piece. Ford said, "Produce it anyway." But they replied, "It's impossible." "Go ahead," Ford commanded, "and stay on the job until you succeed, no matter how much time is required." The engineers went ahead. There was nothing else for them to do if they were to remain on the Ford staff. 6 months went by, nothing happened. Another 6 months passed, and still nothing happened. The engineers tried every conceivable plan to carry out the orders, but the thing seemed out of the question, impossible. At the end of the year, Ford checked with his engineers, and again they informed him they had found no way to carry out his orders. "Go right ahead," said Ford. "I want it, and I'll have it." They went ahead, and then, as if by a stroke of magic, the secret was discovered. The Ford determination had won once more. This story may not be described with minute accuracy, but the sum and substance of it is correct. Deduce from it, you who wish to think and grow rich, the secret of the Ford millions if you can. You'll not have to look very far. Henry Ford is a success because he understands and applies the principles of success. One of these is desire, knowing what one wants. Remember this Ford story as you read, and pick out the lines in which the secret of his stupendous achievement has been described. If you can do this, if you can lay your finger on the particular group of principles which made Henry Ford rich, you can equal his achievements in almost any calling for which you are suited. You are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul, because when Henley wrote the prophetic lines, "I am the master of my fate, I am the captain of my soul," he should have informed us that we are the masters of our fate, the captains of our souls, because we have the power to control our thoughts. He should have told us that the ether in which this little earth floats, in which we move and have our being, is a form of energy moving at an inconceivably high rate of vibration, and that the ether is filled with a form of universal power which adapts itself to the nature of the thoughts we hold in our minds, and influences us in natural ways to transmute our thoughts into their physical equivalent. If the poet had told us of this great truth, we would know why it is that we are the masters of our fate, the captains of our souls. He should have told us with great emphasis that this power makes no attempt to discriminate between destructive thoughts and constructive thoughts, that it will urge us to translate into physical reality thoughts of poverty just as quickly as it will influence us to act upon thoughts of riches. He should have told us, too, that our brains become magnetized with the dominating thoughts which we hold in our minds, and by means with which no man is familiar, these magnets attract us to the forces, the people, the circumstances of life which harmonize with the nature of our dominating thoughts. He should have told us that before we can accumulate riches in great abundance, we must magnetize our thoughts with intense desire for riches, that we must become money conscious until the desire for money drives us to create definite plans for acquiring it. But, being a poet and not a philosopher, Henley contented himself by stating a great truth in poetic form, leaving those who followed him to interpret the philosophical meaning of his lines. Little by little, the truth has unfolded itself, until it now appears certain that the principles described in this book hold the secret of mastery over our economic fate. We are now ready to examine the first of these principles. Maintain a spirit of open-mindedness, and remember as you read, they are the invention of no one man. The principles were gathered from the life experiences of more than 500 men who actually accumulated riches in huge amounts, men who began in poverty, with but little education, without influence. The principles worked for these men. You can put them to work for your own enduring benefit. You will find it easy, not hard to do. Before you read the next chapter, I want you to know that it conveys factual information which might easily change your entire financial destiny, as it has so definitely brought changes of stupendous proportions to two people described. I want you to know also that the relationship between these two men and myself is such that I could have taken no liberties with the facts, even if I had wished to do so. One of them has been my closest personal friend for almost 25 years. The other is my own son. The unusual success of these two men, success which they generously accredit to the principle described in the next chapter, more than justifies this personal reference as a means of emphasizing the far-flung power of this principle. Almost 15 years ago, I delivered the commencement address at Salem College, Salem, West Virginia. I emphasized the principle described in the next chapter with so much intensity that one of the members of the graduating class definitely appropriated it and made it part of his own philosophy. The young man is now a member of Congress and an important factor in the present administration. Just before this book went to the publisher, he wrote me a letter in which he so clearly stated his opinion of the principle outlined in the next chapter that I had chosen to publish his letter as an introduction to the chapter. It gives you an idea of the rewards to come. dear Napoleon, my service as a member of Congress having given me an insight into the problems of men and women, I am writing to offer a suggestion which may become helpful to thousands of worthy people. With apologies, I must state that the suggestion, if acted upon, will mean several years of labor and responsibility for you, but I am heartened to make the suggestion because I know your great love for rendering useful service. In 1922, you delivered the commencement address at Salem College when I was a member of the graduating class. In that address, you planted in my mind an idea which has been responsible for the opportunity I now have to serve the people of my state, and will be responsible in a very large measure for whatever success I may have in the future. The suggestion I have in mind is that you put into a book the sum and substance of the address you delivered at Salem College, and in that way give the people of America an opportunity to profit by your many years of experience and association with men who, by their greatness, have made America the richest nation on earth. I recall, as though it were yesterday, the marvelous description you gave of the method by which Henry Ford, but with little schooling, without a dollar, with no influential friends, rose to great heights. I made up my mind then, even before you had finished your speech, that I would make a place for myself, no matter how many difficulties I had to surmount. Thousands of young people will finish their schooling this year, and within the next few years. Every one of them will be seeking just such a message of practical encouragement as the one I received from you. They will want to know where to turn, what to do to get started in life. You can tell them because you have helped solve the problems of so many people. If there is any possible way that you can afford to render so great a service, may I offer the suggestion that you include with every book one of your personal analysis charts, in order that the purchaser of the book may have the benefit of a complete self-inventory indicating, as you indicated to me years ago, exactly what is standing in the way of success. Such a service as this, providing the readers of your book with a complete, unbiased picture of their faults and their virtues, would mean to them the difference between success and failure. The service would be priceless. Millions of people are now facing the problem of staging a comeback because of the Depression. And I speak from personal experience when I say, I know these earnest people would welcome the opportunity to tell you their problems and to receive your suggestions for the solution. You know the problems of those who face the necessity of beginning all over the world. There are thousands of people in America today who would like to know how they can convert ideas into money. People who must start at scratch without finances and recoup their losses. If anyone can help them, you can. If you publish the book, I would like to own the first copy that comes from the press, personally autographed by you. With best wishes, believe me, cordially yours, Jennings Randolph. Chapter.
Everybody still there?
Yes.
Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I is here.
Yeah, me too. Yep, that's definitely an inspiring story about Thomas Edison. I can see where he got his drive to create the light bulb. I mean, he got to work with, Edwin C. Barnes. Sorry, I could see where he got his drive to work with Thomas Edison. And he didn't give up.
Well, see, that's the key thing that, after, as we were talking to before starting the recording, that showing up, that's part of what you have to do. You have to show up. You have to be determined and do the things, as we've talked about in the past, do the little things that you don't like to do. But like he said, he had that fervent desire that he was going to be an associate, not just work for him, but an associate
Yeah, absolutely.
of Thomas Edison. And by doing and putting himself in the position where he was, by being around there and just doing it, and then when that opportunity came, he jumped at the opportunity to show how he could sell something that everybody else was saying it couldn't be sold because they were limiting themselves based on their perception of
What was
what people,
possible, and yeah.
yeah, what people really like it, or would they? He turned that that dislike or that disability into a possibility and into the um, the selling point, so to speak, of what it was, and he didn't give up. And that's why even now you see the great people that can sell and do something. They take something that maybe somebody else doesn't sell so well and look at it from a whole different point and use that as their leverage to selling it. And I think that's one of the things I'd like to get better at. And so with that, I've read this book a couple times. I've been through it on another mastermind that I've been a part of in the past. And it doesn't hurt to go back through this, because every time I go through it, I get something new out of it.
Yeah, me too. I think Think and Grow Rich is definitely something that we should go through every couple of months with this course, and I think I'm going to keep doing that, because this isn't something that you listen to once or twice or 3 times. This is something you listen to for the rest of your life, because Bob Proctor has been studying it since 1961, and now look at where he is. And I guarantee you he reads it every day. I can guarantee you he reads this book every single day. Same with Earl Nightingale. He probably read Think and Grow Rich 1,000 times throughout his life. So definitely something that I'm definitely very passionate about studying, as well as the Law of Success. And when I can find the audio course for that, we'll be definitely presenting the Law of Success by Napoleon Hill as well. Definitely.
Well, the story that always jumps out to me is the one of the gold, 3 feet from gold.
Mm-hmm.
How so close, and yet they thought they were so far. But because, and I think that's what we all tend to try to do. We all try to do it and go it alone, rather than reaching out to the people that we know that have that skill, or have that ability, or have the expertise to help fill in what we don't have, so that way we can get to that next level to achieve the riches that we want, and whether it be monetary or life fulfilling things, or whatever you're searching, that is your wealth number, denominator, or whatever you want to call it. Everybody has their own thing that is their what pushes them. And I think right. And I think, and I think the other thing is, by doing this, going through this book, it also can kind of help keep you motivated too. Because every time I go through it, I'm like, oh, I did that. I just got through doing that. And then I can say, oh, well, maybe if I change that or something like that. So each time you can kind of put yourself to that next level, push yourself that much farther. And if it's good enough for Earl Nightingale,
Bob Proctor,
and people like that to constantly study it, what does that say for us who are wanting to emulate them and be like them and get to the level that they're at?
That's right.
So
I think that this is the book that started the whole personal development industry. And I mean, Nightingale Conant, I know Nightingale Conant was definitely founded off of Napoleon Hill's teachings, because they have the Napoleon Hill Foundation, which is affiliated with the Nightingale Conant Corporation. So I mean, there you go. And what I heard in this chat, what I got from this is just have a burning desire and never give up. And that's what we have. That's what we have. And, we may have people that laugh at us or think we can't do it, or that may talk, that may think that, we're not entrepreneurs because, we're not doing this, or, we don't have this, or this. We're not super famous yet, but it really doesn't matter. It's my dream and Kareem's dream and everyone else's that comes. And that's all that matters to me.
Well, Kareem hasn't said much. I don't know if he's made it home yet or not.
I'm still here.
I was
waiting to get
Well,
my chance to talk.
okay, give me 1 second. I'll let you. I know I'm grabbing
Oh
the
man,
mic
this is
today.
just as much your show. It's just as much your show as it is ours. Dan.
Well, I was going to say, look at what you two have done in the time that you've come on and started where you were and where you're at now.
Exactly, I know.
So if that isn't a testament to what the desire and the drive and the push
Oh, it
to
is.
get to what that's already feeding into what you guys are doing, and that's just going to grow, and you're going to reap the benefits of that in some days, ultimately reaching whatever that goal is for the wealth or desires what you guys want. So the rest assured, whether or not other people are seeing it or whatever, I see it, and
I know.
the fact that you can be a testament to what is in this book, just by doing what you guys are doing.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I really, really appreciate that, and I say it all the time that the love and support that you guys have for us is the same we extend back to you guys, and that's what all businesses should run like. It shouldn't be about somebody making more money than somebody else, or anybody having to step on anyone else, or because they're living in fear of lack. They're living in this mindset that they have to take advantage of people, or they have to do things unethically to get to where they want to be. And to me, that's not success. You could have $5 million in the bank and you could still be a very unsuccessful human being, because success to me isn't about money. Money is the tool that we're all going to use to create the change in the world we want to see and to facilitate the lifestyles that we want to live. Like traveling, I'd like to be able to travel to Nevada to see you, and just to hang out with you, go to some basketball games, whatever we decided to do. Dan, you're going to get a hockey team there soon. So, I mean, we'd have plenty to do. It's the city of sin, for crying out loud.
We have a football team too now.
Yeah. Who's going to Vegas?
Raiders.
That's true. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. Wow. I mean, there would be no shortage of us having a good time, but that's the thing. I got to be able to travel to see my friends and the people that you guys are my family, right? So I want to be able to see my family and people that are helping us build this company. Like, we've hired you to be our article writer, our blogger, and it's going to be great, man.
Okay, Kareem, sorry. I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
I'm yakking too much. Damn, that's a good idea.
Yeah, no problem, man. Definitely what I was going to take off the story was, I like that comparison when he was talking to the Asian student, because it really does come down to, a lot of people want to see success. They want to see they want to judge everything off the empirical stuff they see, and they never want to come and ask, hey, what was the mindset that got you into this position? And I know this because people have asked, oh, you got a job, or you're doing the power hour, what do you make? And it's really not about what I make. It's about the idea behind what I want to become.
Yeah.
As for, yeah, it would be great to hang out with all you guys and have fun and see what's going on down in Vegas, and just chill with Dan for a while. And yeah, it will blow up. I mean, different people are seeing it every day. My friend, I meet different clients when I'm out and about doing my testimonials. And hopefully, once I learn this video strategy, it'll really take off.
Yeah, I guess I should check out the channel when I got time too. Yeah, so we can do it together and work on it together. I did finish those recap videos. I just have to get them uploaded, number 3 and 4. Today I shot them in my car. So, you know what I'm talking about, Kareem? Yes, he knows what I'm talking about.
I do.
Okay. What were you going to say, Dan?
I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to say, how much longer are we going, or how much more are we going?
Well, you
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 look
want
like
to watch that game, eh?
you're starting to enjoy your drink too.
Oh no, I always have a beer at night, man. That's just I bought this one today. It's a Jasmine IPA from Steamworks. Really
Oh,
nice
okay.
stuff. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, 'cause I got approached by somebody who's building up a MLM company doing wine, and
Oh, nice,
so I'm looking at that as another alternative income stream, maybe,
nice.
um, and stuff like that. And they got a lot of people already, and
Oh
people.
yeah,
So I'm going to go check out another wine tasting event on next Friday,
that's
April
incredible.
7th, if
Nice.
I can make it, because I'm doing some work in my bathroom. So,
Oh,
but
cool.
yeah, I got
Yeah.
some towel that my roommate found or got from a friend that was left over. So now one of the people he knows is going to come over and help us and show us how to lay it and whatever. And I've been wanting to learn and do that anyway. Um, so that's going to be
Well,
interesting. But
yeah.
that's yeah. But like I said, once I learn more about this wine thing, because they're across the United States and trying to get into other countries and stuff.
Um,
And with some of the contacts I know people that I could probably talk to and stuff.
there you
So I
go.
thought I'd throw that out there for you guys too, because I know you're a beer
Oh, I'm
connoisseur.
a big beer connoisseur, but I see. I want to get into wines, but it's the pectin really bothers me. I get headaches very easily from wine, and I think it's the concentration of the pectin in the grapes.
Mm.
So I got to be very careful when I drink wine. Like I could have a few glasses, but I couldn't get like a good buzz from it because my head would be killing me the next day. So yeah, for sure.
Now we only have small little things, and I went and I had like 3 of them, but they were small,
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
but the health benefits, maybe I got some good health benefits
Well,
out of it.
beer is very healthy for you too, especially beer with lots of hops and different like malt varieties and things like that. Especially Citra, Cascade, and Galaxy hops because they're very fruity and citrusy. They actually have vitamins in them. Hops are very good for you. The only way beer's bad for you is if you drink too much and get drunk all the time. Then it's bad, right?
Right.
Yeah. But
But
that's
this
not me,
is, but just to lead in back into the book and what
man.
we're,
Yeah,
you
go ahead.
know, coming in, having somebody approach me, knowing that I'm involved in other things,
Right.
when you get involved in these type of things, and people learn and know what you're about and what you're doing, they
Yes.
come searching you out.
Yes, and that's why we're here because people like you and Cedric and Fran and Bill and Josh and Leon and hope I'm not leaving anyone out. Marsha, God, we've had so many people on. Calvin, William, and Gordon, and hopefully Calvin will come back when he's done his. He's traveling the world right now, giving his getting his public speaking and engaging at different conferences. That's where we're going to get. Kareem, I want us to get so big that we host a freaking TED Talk. Like the Entrepreneur Power Hour live on TED Talk. Like that's.
Oh, I would love
Yeah,
doing
we
a
can
TED
do
Talk.
that. That's definitely
We're gonna do
possible.
that, and we'll bring Dan, and we'll all be there. It's
Oh
not
my
just
God,
me and
that
you,
would
man. It's
be
gonna be everybody.
TED Talk would be awesome.
This is the Entrepreneur Power Hour, and we'll have everybody there that can make it. Everybody, man. And anybody who can't, we'll have like a live broadcast like this where we can just via satellite, via internet, everybody in, and it'll be freaking amazing, dude. Yeah, man. Uniting the
But
weak
see,
entrepreneurs.
It's definitely possible.
Of course it is. We're going to do it. Cheers to that, buddy.
Yep.
Look how far we've come. We have studios, lighting. It's all uphill from here, man. It's all up. All up.
So out of this book and out of what some of this stuff, what has been the number one thing that keeps pushing you two forward? Because I'm sure you guys have some similar desires and dreams, but I'm sure you each have your own dreams and desires that you kind of have to balance out with this too. So what is it out of Think and Grow Rich that keeps pushing you two forward?
What principles?
Well, what overall is like pushing you and keeping you going?
Desire and persistence. Desire and persistence. Masterminding, persistence, desire, decision, the power of mastering decision, the power of a definiteness of purpose. Because I know Chapter 8 is on decision, Chapter 9 is persistence, Chapter 7, organized planning. I
think what I was trying to get to is because I know that you two have come collectively together to build this up, but I also am trying to see how you guys are balancing your personal dreams and desires.
I think, you know what? I think Kareem and I have pretty much identical dreams, and that's why we get along so good. I think our dream and vision is basically, it's very symbiotic and extremely similar. Kareem and I have a lot of the same views on politics. We have a lot of the same views on religion. We have a lot of the same views on the government and changing the world. And we both have very similar ideas and beliefs as to what will facilitate these changes. And I know that's why we're doing this together, you know. And I really don't know if I could do it with anybody else, to be honest. Obviously with you and everyone else, but I know that, you know, Kareem and I, it's very, very symbiotic for sure.
Well, that's what I'm getting at, because there are times people get involved in things thinking that, oh, it's going to be this, this, and this, and all of a sudden they realize that, oh, it's not this, but yet they're kind of already invested into it. And
we made sure that we knew where each other stands on, you know, and we made sure that the other one was in sync with what the other one wanted, and we are very in sync with this together.
Yeah, definitely. For me, I just have fun making videos and doing videos.
Me too.
And once I take that perspective of I'm going to enjoy it, I'm going to have fun, I'm going to come and chill on Saturday and listen to something good, I'm going to come on Tuesday, get on camera, get on my studio and talk to people, and then just get into it. I really have fun with it. And I think that's probably the fun with what you're doing. And you plan on doing it for years and years, it's going to be rough. I'm not to say there are days I'm not tired, but really the driving thing is I have fun doing it, and I want to take it to the next level, which will be done soon once I learn a couple techniques.
Me too. Yep. Yeah, and a lot of it came from the trust that I earned from Kareem when I sponsored him into It Works, and when I was his mentor and mentoring for free. But what the funny thing is now we're both mentors of one another. And that's great. And you're one of our mentors too, Dan, and I'm sure we're mentors to you, and that's what a mastermind is. And that's what Kareem and I needed. We felt like mentoring for free was way too oppressive, and it, you know, that if you didn't have the time in that other people had, you didn't get to say much. Like, especially the way they treated Carl Davis was I got very upset about that. Even though Carl and I do have our differences, I still respect the man very highly, and I think he's a very intelligent person. But the way that once they started to treat him like he wasn't as important as, let's say, Margie Starr or other people that had been there for so long, that's when Kareem and I kind of went and we talked about it. We're like, do we really want people do we really want to bring people into this? It felt like a cult. Really, that's exactly what it felt like. And I had other people tell me that why they left mentoring for free. And at first I couldn't understand because I was so involved with it, and I'd learned so much from Michael DeLohe and his book and the calls, the color, especially the colors calls. Actually, I just had a great idea. Kareem, we should teach colors on some Saturday night calls, which we are going to do because I have the book to do it. So we're going to do some personality colors.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, damn rights we can. But getting back,
I don't know if we'll call people live.
No, we'll just do it with our panelists. That's what we'll do, because I don't think we really no, I don't. I think that the fact that we know each other so well, that whole myth that you have to call people cold so you really know what their color is. No, you don't. You don't have to do that. I know for a fact that Dan is green and blue. I know that for a fact because Dan can be analytical at times, but Dan is also very fun and he's very excited and he really he's very, very energetic. Is that right, Dan?
I think you hit some of it on the head.
You're very
I've
open.
never.
You're very open and you're very direct too. That's what I meant. Like, yeah.
I'm open. I'm open to a degree.
Right. Yeah.
I am open to a degree, but I do keep a lot of things guarded. It's taken me a lot of years to get to this point, to where it takes me a lot to trust people.
Hey.
Once I'm comfortable, and once I'm there, then I'm there.
Mhm.
But otherwise, and I am very analytical about things, but I also like to have a fun time and stuff and things like that.
Exactly.
But it's weird because I'm not the comedic person, kind of like you and Kareem are. I have a very drier sense of very sarcastic. But when I get my zings in, they're usually pretty deadly
good.
and right. And
They are
they're
good. Yeah. No, they're good.
But
Yeah.
outside of that, I'm not the quick comeback. I'm kind of more. It takes me a while, and then it's like, oh, and then I get one, and then but it sticks and stays there.
Yeah.
So, but otherwise,
No,
like
we
that.
love you, man. We love you. And I know that for a fact that I'm red and blue, and that's a really strange combination. People don't want me to bring out the red because that's when I'm like angry. That's when I'm not thinking with my logic. That's when my emotions take over, and I get very, very brutally honest, and a lot of people don't like it. So I definitely, over the years, and Kareem's helped me a lot with this, and I want to thank him for this. He's helped me tone down my edge and really just chill out and just, have more fun. Out of the two of us, I am the serious one out of Kareem and I. But he does make me laugh a lot. Me and him joke all the time. We're always laughing about stuff. And we have a very similar sense of humor. However, we do have our differences, especially musically. We're very different musically, which is fine. He likes his fun metal. I like my serious metal, which is fine. And it took me a while to accept that, but I do. And I couldn't do it without him. He's my brother, and I love him, and I would give him the shirt off my back. I really would. Because the work that he does for this business and the work that we all do and that him and I do, and you as well, Dan. Actually, when we get off the call, Dan, if you want to go watch your basketball, I was going to show you some stuff tomorrow about a program called S'more. It's a flyer making program, and it's really cool, and Kareem and I are going to start working on a new business. I want us to come up with a new newsletter format, and I think this S'more program will really help catch people's attention and stuff like that. But I want to thank everybody for being here tonight, our audience. We love you guys. Thank you. Without you, this would not be possible. Mr. Dan Sissick, one of our great buddies and panelists, and also he's our blogger, article writer. We're going to be getting him to do some stuff for us. We still need your testimonial video, Dan.
I know. It's working. I'm just trying to figure out how I want to say it.
It's all good.
It's not so much saying it's just figuring out in the best possible way. So I tend to analyze it.
what we need from you is we need to know how the show makes you feel every time you come on, what you learn. Also talk about what you contribute. Talk about your knowledge as an entrepreneur and what you contribute to this mastermind. Because like Kareem and I have said, we want to take the focus off of us. We want the focus to be on you guys, because that's what's going to grab people for this business, is what you guys get from the show. So don't think about us so much when you're doing your testimonial. Talk about Dan and what Dan gets. Talk about what this does for Dan. Okay, and why you being a contributing member is very important to you, and that's, I think, is going to create the emotional attachment. Yes, you can say good things about Kareem and I, but don't make the focus about us. Okay.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Thank you. So I want to thank you guys for being here tonight, and we will see you Tuesday night for the Entrepreneur Power Hour Tuesday night Mastermind series. I was going to say Saturday, Tuesday night, 7:30. We'll see you guys later. Have a great night. Bye-bye. Good night. Bye-bye.
Hi, I have a simple question for you. How do you feel about wealth? Are you a person who thinks wealth makes someone bad or selfish? Now, it's important to realize that wealth does not make someone good or bad. Because wealth is about much more than money. It's about living a life of full productivity with the freedom to do what you want. Whenever you want, and with whoever you want. Wealth is also about making a difference in the world and in the lives of others. Now, these principles are what really creates wealth, success, and happiness. Hello, I'm Chris Peters, and welcome to the Entrepreneur Power Hour Saturday Night Personal Development Series. This Saturday, April 1st at 9 p.m. Eastern, we are going to be listening to Think and Grow Rich, Chapter 1 by Napoleon Hill. Then we will be discussing what we got from the chapter and what we learned. Note, you will need Zoom video conference software installed to be on the broadcast. You can download it here. You can also dial in by phone using the numbers provided on the screen. And hey, while you're watching this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we will do the same for you. And please visit our new company website for a complete list of our services. We are 100% dedicated to quality service and your satisfaction. Thank you, and we will see you live on the show.